Honda built this Civic to prove a point. This is the Hot Wheels 2016 Honda Civic Type R. As usual, I did a little digging on the Honda Civic Type R today, so let's dive in and see what I've come up with. Honda built this Civic to prove a point. For decades, Honda earned its reputation on high-revving, naturally aspirated VTEC engines. Cars like the Integra Type R and earlier Civics screamed past 8,000 RPM and delivered razor-sharp response without turbochargers. But by the early 2010s, the performance world had changed. Turbocharging dominated. Torque numbers mattered, front-wheel drive hot hatches were locked in a horsepower war, and Honda had been quiet for too long. So in 2015, Honda stepped back into the fight, and they did it with the FK2 Civic Type R. This wasn't just another Civic with more horsepower. This was Honda making a statement. Under the hood was the K20C1, a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 producing 306 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and around 21 to 23 psi of boost. Redline was roughly 7,000 RPM. Power went exclusively to the front wheels through a 6-speed manual transmission. No automatic, no dual clutch, no watered-down version. And yes, it still had a VTEC. VTEC stands for Variable Valve Timing and Lift Electronic Control. Traditionally, VTEC uses 2 cam profiles, one mild for low RPM efficiency and one aggressive for high RPM power. At higher engine speeds, oil pressure activates a locking mechanism that switches to the high-performance cam lobe. That's what gave older Hondas that famous VTEC kick. But in the FK2, Honda evolved it. This wasn't about a dramatic cam switch at 6,000 RPM. Instead, VTEC worked with direct injection and turbocharging to optimize airflow across the entire rev range. It improved throttle response, helped reduce turbo lag, and maintained strong power all the way to redline. The result? Strong torque down low, sustained pull up top, and a completely modern Type R personality. 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds, top speed of 167 miles per hour, helical limited slip differential, Brembo 4-piston front brakes with 350mm rotors, adaptive suspension, drive selectable plus R mode. But here's where it gets interesting. With over 300 horsepower going to the front wheels, torque steer could have been a disaster. So Honda engineered a dual-axis front suspension system. This design separated steering forces from drive forces, dramatically reducing torque steer under hard acceleration. That's serious engineering. The FK2 wasn't a standard Civic with a bigger engine dropped in. Honda reinforced the chassis with additional structural bonding, strengthened suspension mounting points, increased rigidity over standard Civics. The body was significantly stiffer, which improved high-speed stability and cornering precision. This was a fully engineered performance car. And that aggressive bodywork, it wasn't just cosmetic. The front splitter created real downforce, underbody panels improved airflow, the hood vent extracted heat, and the rear wing added stability at speed. Honda tested this car extensively at high speed. That 167 miles per hour top speed wasn't theoretical, it was engineered for. In 2015, the FK2 Civic Type R set a front-wheel drive production car record at the Nürburgring. The lap time was 7 minutes, 50.63 seconds. That made it one of the fastest front-wheel drive cars in the world, faster than many rear-wheel drive sports cars of its era. Honda had officially entered the modern performance war. Interestingly, Honda didn't strip it down like a race car special. It weighed around 3,000 to 3,100 pounds, depending on market. It still had a full interior, infotainment, air conditioning, rear seats, and sound insulation. Honda's philosophy wasn't to build a bare-bones track weapon. It was to build a car you could drive every day and take to the track on the weekend. They focused more on chassis rigidity and suspension engineering than removing comfort features. That plus R mode, when you press the button, the car changed personality. It had a firmer adaptive suspension, sharper throttle response, heavier steering feel, and more aggressive stability control. It became noticeably more track-focused. That dual personality is part of what makes the FK2 special. The FK2 was built at Honda's Swindon plant in the UK. It was sold in the UK, mainland Europe, and Japan. It was available in both right-hand and left-hand drive, but was never officially sold in the US. Why? Because this version was based on the European Civic platform, which differed from the American Civic at the time. Rather than federalize that generation for the US, Honda waited until the next generation, the FK8, to bring the Type R to America in 2017. That's why the FK2 feels like a forbidden Type R for American enthusiasts. The original MSRP was around $30,000 US, even though you couldn't buy it here. That's roughly what they were selling for. For that money, you were getting 300 plus horsepower, manual transmission, track developed chassis, and Nürburgring record credentials. It wasn't cheap for a Civic, but it wasn't built to be. Now fast forward to today, these cars are just now starting to trickle into this country. I looked around on Bring a Trailer. I could not find any sales of this generation on Bring a Trailer. I even looked around a little bit online to see if I could find anything, and I couldn't. I'm going to show you a few pictures of a few models that I did find in Europe. There's a dealer that sells them, just so you can see what a real one looks like. Now here's a dealer that had a handful of these in the UK, I think he is, for sale. This one here is 21,000 pounds, but I just wanted to show this so you could see what the real car looks like. It's got a pretty cool quad exhaust there. I think it's a pretty neat car. I'd love to see some of these brought into the US. I would think they'd be able to now that they're, or no, wait, they haven't hit the 25 years yet. That's why they're not coming in this country yet. Okay, I guess we got a few more years to wait for these cars. There's an interior shot. This one's obviously a right-hand drive. Typical Type R though, with the red seats, red Honda H badge on the steering wheel there. Very cool looking car though. Maybe someday I'll get my hands on one of these. The FK2 wasn't just a Civic with a turbo. It was a reinforced chassis, advanced suspension engineering, turbocharged VTEC evolution, functional aerodynamic design, Nürburgring development, manual-only purity. It marked the beginning of the modern Type R era. And now, whether it's full scale or 1/64 scale sitting on your wall, the story behind this machine is what makes it special. Because cars like this Hot Wheels Civic Type R are not meant to be sitting in a box somewhere. Cars like this are meant to be seen.